Welcome. This is Studio C, the listening room, with Mike Snyder-Barker.
Hey, and I'm Andy Schiller.
And it's a beautiful, sunny Sunday morning, and we have our good friend Judy Banker here to spend some time
Round of
with us.
applause.
Yeah.
Judy Banker, everybody.
So
And this is episode
I don't know,
number...
look.
Is it 18 or 19?
It's 18, I think.
18.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've been doing them weekly, which has been...
Wow, that's
Yeah.
a commitment.
It is. But, you know, neither of us live very far. Andy lives, what, 3
Couple blocks away.
Oh, you
blocks
guys.
away.
Right, okay, so it's kind of get warmed up for the day and then...
Yeah, and then, you know, we'll spend the rest of the day doing whatever else we do. I think Carla wants to go shopping today.
It's a gorgeous day out there.
Yeah, I know.
And we all got our coffee.
We have our
We
coffee.
do.
Here's a little
We
toast,
do.
you guys.
Yes.
Okay.
Welcome to the
Here's the
podcast.
coffee.
Welcome to the
Okay.
podcast.
So tell us about your music career and the songs that you wrote, and tell us about your
Tell us
upcoming
about you.
gigs.
Everything.
Tell us everything.
We want to hear all about your guitar and your music and your singing and your lyrics and your songwriting process and your CDs and...
Not much. But first of all, I first met you at Johnny's Speakeasy.
Yeah.
I went in to see Dave Roof, who was playing with you and Jay Steelstra. And Jason Denny, I believe.
Yeah, Jason would have been playing with us, right?
Yeah. And that was my first time I'd ever heard your name and known who you were. And that's been a good 10 years ago or so.
Easy.
Yeah. And that was, I really enjoyed the music Jay did and the music you did. And, you know, I've been a follower.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I was just thinking about that I feel like I have these chapters.
Yeah.
And they kind of all blend into each other, but it's kind of hard, you know, like this is my latest chapter, but playing with Jay, I played with my husband John before that. We played for a long time and more informally, you know, it was, we didn't record anything. We played music at home constantly, and we'd play out sometimes in different places and for weddings and stuff like that, or whatever, family weddings. But then we started playing with Jay Steelstra. How do I do this?
You can talk
I need
to
a swivel chair. I'll talk to you, and then I'll talk to you. Yeah, so then John and I started playing with Jay, John was friends with Jay a long time ago. And then I met Jay through John. And we would have music parties at our house and played with Jay informally that way and with a lot of different people in the community. And anyway, Jay was at one of these chapters. He had a carpentry accident, like a lot of these guys have, and he cut off part of a finger and had to take a little break from music, and then he was reforming things and invited John to play with him, and then I just weaseled my way in. That was just not going to happen without me. So
I wish I would have met John.
Yeah,
I never had a chance.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish he was still around for you to meet him.
Understandable.
So then we played with Jay. We played Jay's songs, and that was for me a learning experience about the music industry, kind of, and how to. Because Jay was of the school of thought that if they want us to play, they'll call us.
Right.
He didn't like to seek out gigs.
Yeah, it doesn't really work like that.
It did for him for most of his career.
Yeah.
But it was not that way anymore, and so then I just took it upon myself, because part of playing with Jay was to get him out there more. That was the idea, and
he's an amazing Michigan songwriter.
Oh yeah, Jay Steelstra. If you know, Steilstra. If you're gonna look him up on the web, jsteelstra.com, you can find out about his history and he's been writing songs for a long time. Started performing at the original Arc and sort of part of that whole generation, you know.
It's like Michigan's Pete Seeger and Woody Guthrie.
Yeah, we've got a few of those, and Jay's certainly one. I think we just, just even then I could just talk about what I've been just the past week. We did a Jay's written a bunch of musical plays, and one of them is called North Country Opera, and he wrote that 42 years ago now. And it's been performed all over the place for a long time, but then it wasn't, how things are,
Yeah.
there's a big flurry and then it stops. And we revived it in 2022. It wasn't that long ago.
I know.
Let me think. 2022. And I was the musical director, and Ron Miller, who directed it before, a bunch of the same people kind of came back, and then some
Nice.
new people, because it's a musical, it's a folk musical.
Yeah.
And built around Jay's songs. Anyway, long story short, we just I had a film screening of one of the performances at the State Theater in Ann Arbor the other night, and we were trying to figure out what to do. I'm good friends with Jay's wife, and she's Barbara Schmidt, and she's trying to figure out kind of how to care for Jay's legacy, because
Yeah.
he passed away a year ago,
Yeah.
and he was 90. Good long life.
Yeah.
90.
Yeah.
And he was performing
Up until the pandemic threw a little
Yeah.
wrench in things, but we'd play music together, and he was starting to perform again.
Yeah.
But it was such a it was like a melting pot of the whole point of it was to raise money for an organization called Pilar's Foundation, which is does humanitarian work in our state and then across the country, but it's a very grassrootsy organization. In Ann Arbor, the one who runs Pilar's Tamales, Sylvia.
I wondered.
Yeah. She's sort of she's a miracle worker, and much loved person.
And they're located on Liberty Street in
Yes.
Ann Arbor?
Yeah, Pilar's
right,
Tamales.
Right off the stadium?
Right off a stadium. Good marketing. Yeah, check it out. El Salvadoran food, delicious, and anyway, so the place was full. We played Jay's music. We had the play, and we raised a bunch of money for Pilar's Foundation. It was just like one of those, you feel like with all the crap going on right now, that it was kind of the community coming together.
We need that sense of peace and connectedness.
And a feeling of efficacy where you're not, I feel like we're, not to get, but, just to get into it, there's just a feeling of we're just getting beat up every day.
Yeah.
And I know other demographics have been getting that all the time.
Yep.
And I feel like now everyone's feeling it.
Most everyone.
Yeah. And so, the having community events and finding ways that people can connect and be together and take some sort of action.
We seem to need that more than ever right now.
Music's a great way to make connections.
It's so true. It's so true. Last night I played with Bill Edwards.
Yeah,
Bill. He's a great songwriter, and he and I used to play together more frequently back like around the 20 teens, and then the pandemic hit, and all things kind of went by the wayside.
You play with a lot of people.
I do.
Yeah, that's nice.
I weasel my way. It's fun. It's just like I like to.
Yeah.
And I like Bill's songs. I love singing harmony, and I don't get to sing harmony. Well, I sing harmony with myself on my recordings, which is okay. It's
not
great.
the same.
It's not the same. No. Even that. No, it's not the same at all. But he had a CD release last night at a friend's house at a house concert, and that was great. It was just packed in another community kind of thing. It was really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to get to more of those. I just saw Mike Gentry, was it last weekend? In Manchester.
Yeah.
And that was
You went to that. I didn't get to go. Yeah.
Yeah, and unfortunately a guy fell out
I
with
heard about that.
some kind of medical issue. And Mike was so gracious, as he always is. Yeah, but let's go back to you.
Yeah. No. That's great. Really, shout out to Manchester Underground.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's a great venue.
John and Chris.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a really cool venue.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. But then you kind of move from Jay to do a lot of your own solo writing and solo work.
After, it started. I was still Jay, John, and I were playing, and then John passed away in 2012. And after John died, there was all sort of different things that a person goes through. But one of the things I realized was you kind of have about 2 weeks where people, kind of understand that you're like a shattered mess. And then it's like, no, well, you've got this thing, and like you've got this responsibility. And I realized that, I'm a therapist. You're a therapist, and part of the reason I'm a therapist is emotions are fascinating to me, and I feel a lot of emotions and really deeply, and I knew this was going to be a saga for me. Like, oh boy. So I realized that writing songs was cathartic, and it gave me a way to try to put the grief into words in a way and try to express it musically. And then I thought and then I had the idea, well, I wrote a bunch of songs, and then I thought, well, I'll record them. I know Dave Roof. Yeah. And that was my first recording. It was my second recording experience. And it was, so Dave was a little kind of oblivious. He didn't realize what he was dealing with. And the good part about it is that Dave's just like steady. He's such a steady, strong.
Absolutely.
Go ahead. And he just wasn't. I could just have all my feelings, and he wouldn't get derailed, or he wouldn't get weirded out, or something like that. It would just be. I could just be how I was. And so we recorded them, and then I realized and then Johnny Williams, after it was over, I said, I have a CD coming out. It was called Without You, and it's like, oh, it's my wailing wall. And then Johnny said, well, you need a place to have a CD release, which was never on my radar. I had
Right.
What? So
you were just processing all the emotions through that.
Completely.
Yeah,
it was
thinking ahead was hard.
Yeah. Oh, there was no thought process about beyond it. It was like, let me just get this thing, have it. It's sort of my thing, and that was all. And then who was I with? Tony Pace and Greta Barnard and Dave Roof and was it Stuart Tucker? Who was the
drummer? Yeah,
at that time it might have been Stuart. I don't think it was Brian yet. And
Greta
Alan
played
Pagliari.
Violin, right?
Greta played violin,
okay,
and
I remember her.
Yeah, and she sang harmonies. So we played at Johnny's, and then somebody asked us to play at Nash Bash. It was just like one of those things where we, then I realized, oh, maybe we could play places.
Yeah.
And it was such a. I have to figure out where. I'm not going to look at the camera. I'll just look at you
just
guys.
us. I mean, the camera's not here.
For everyone that's just listening to the podcast, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, 'cause some people just listen.
Yeah, that's right. But that there was something about it was such a weird like these songs that I wrote like sobbing on the floor in my living room that I'm now singing out to people, and there's that how does one perform these like I want to see nobody wants to see somebody just looking dour. It all worked out. It was all okay, but I've realized that boy, those first few years performing were weird.
Yeah. Really
weird. For me, trying to kind of navigate that. It's very personal. I don't know. I had friends who wouldn't come to my concerts because they said they're too sad. Because they knew John too, and so it's like they couldn't see through. They could see through the veil.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I still write about John, but I guess I'm more comfortable and there's more, I don't know, padding around it all. Yeah, just time, I think about him, he's around all the time.
Yeah.
But there's, everyone talks about that with grief, how you grow skin around it. It stays the same sort of at the core, but there's layers and layers that you can move in and out of there.
I'd like to share a quote by Beethoven, if I could. And he said, playing a wrong note is fine. Playing without passion is inexcusable.
Ah.
So if your music doesn't have emotion, hey, even if it's technically perfect, it's missing something.
Yeah.
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 Well, I've got the emotion. That's good. Hopefully people can forgive the technicality part.
You know,
And they do.
at our level of playing, it's hard to be perfect. You know, and there is no real perfection.
Yeah.
And so
yeah.
I don't even think about that. You know, when I'm playing this, I think I've only been playing a few years. If I do something
That's
wrong,
right. That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. I keep thinking you've been playing now for, and just think of you.
drums,
Yeah.
percussion.
Right.
But yeah, if I make a wrong note, I don't care. I don't have enough time left in my life to worry about it.
Michael basically just start, for everyone at home that's not watching but listening, I'm making air quotes in the air. Michael just started playing the guitar, meaning like 4 years ago.
4 years ago, yeah.
Yeah.
Andy was my teacher.
Ah, nice.
So it's come a long way, everybody. So
Yeah.
you can too in a short time.
Yeah, but let's talk about Judy.
Tell us about any
Oh, we gotta
gigs.
mix it up.
I know.
So you mentioned that you were playing. So do you have any upcoming gigs?
Think about this. This is going to air next Sunday after next.
Okay, yes, that's good. All right, yeah. The next, I have another event I'm organizing, and it's Pete Seeger. It's the annual Pete Seeger birthday
Yeah.
tribute concert at the Ark.
Hmm.
It's been going on. I can't quite figure out. I need to talk to the people who've started it more to
Yeah.
find out how many years. But let's say 15 years, maybe 20, maybe longer. I don't know.
Probably longer.
Probably longer. And it is a benefit concert for the Ark.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we've got a great lineup, and we've got Andy Capps and Matt Watroba and Mustard's Retreat and Billy King, and Reggie Harris is a folk singer who's performed with Pete Seeger. He's
Oh.
coming in from New York.
Okay.
And we've
Billy
got-
King's really on the rise. I mean, he has a lot of followers on Instagram
Yeah.
and TikTok.
And TikTok.
And he's an awesome musician and an awesome guy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Talk about passion.
I think
He
awesome guy
deserves his
first.
success.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when is that going to be? That
That's Thursday, May 15th.
okay.
Yeah, and it's at 8 p.m. and you can get tickets at theark.org.
Yeah.
So that's coming
And
up.
join as a member, because then
You-
you can buy a drink when you're there.
There you go. That's right.
And if
that's
you
right.
don't join as a member, you can't.
Unless you find a member and drag them to the bar,
Yeah.
and then they can use their little card. Should have said that. What I do, I'm undermining the whole purpose.
But yeah, the Ark is great, and they have a lot of great concerts. I've been there to see a lot of great guitarists, and the sound is always top
Isn't it?
notch.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Every seat in the room, it sounds good.
Yeah.
And every seat is, you get a good view, too.
Mhm.
Pretty much.
You feel like you're up close, no matter where you sit there.
Yeah.
Would you believe I saw Johnny Winter play at the Ark?
Wow.
The blues guy? He
Yeah.
was loud. He was ridiculously loud.
He would have been really loud.
And-
at the new art or the
Yeah. I mean, he had to be ushered in. He had to be helped sit in a
Yeah,
chair
I'm thinking
because he
about
was
it.
just really old and frail.
But he was still loud.
Yeah, incredibly loud. I rarely wore earplugs. I went up and got some. Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah.
I was surprised.
Maybe he's kind of deaf.
I would have. He's probably not hearing much these days, and I think he's decomposing.
Okay.
Ba-dum-bum. So now
Sorry,
the
that was
classic,
was a
now the
Mikey
classic podcast question that I ask every guest. Ready? So, do you write the lyrics first, or do you write the chords first?
I was afraid you were going to ask that. I do it every which way.
That's what most people say.
Yeah, that's what I think. I feel like. I think probably maybe there are people that they have a system,
Yeah.
but I think mostly it's all over the map. Yeah.
Just however it comes to you, just how you feel inspired.
Yeah, exactly. If I'm, it's fun to come up with chord changes
Mhm.
or chord, progression or something, and then And then I dig through old lyrics that I haven't done anything with, and I'll see, does anything match up with that? That'll give me a little start to go.
Right.
But
I've been a lyricist for decades, and not being able to play all those years, I just wrote words and handed them to somebody else to.
Oh.
Yeah, and that's hard because then it never really becomes what I imagined. And now being able to play this, then I have a little more control of that.
That's cool.
But I still write lyrics primarily first. There's been a couple times I've tried it the other way, and that's where I came up with that song I played at our songwriters thing yesterday. But whatever works, right? I'm trying the other way.
Yeah, yeah. But if you've got a stockpile of lyrics, I could see.
I have.
Yeah. I could. Yeah.
I have hundreds and hundreds of songs.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, you'll be busy for a long time.
I think so. I think so. But you now have 4 recorded CDs, and you're back in the studio again.
Yeah. Well, trying to get back to the studio.
Well,
We do this thing where I write songs and then we mess with them for a long time before I
Right.
take them to the studio. So
Yeah.
trying to get those sessions scheduled is always tricky because
Because y'all are
6
so
of us.
busy.
yeah.
Is
right.
it the whole band that gets together?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
yeah,
nice.
Yeah, because the idea is sort of, I don't even. Sometimes we all get together, and then the idea is everybody just plays all over each other and kind of sees if they can come up with a part, and then we sort of narrow it down and mix the parts up and take some out and that kind of thing, and it's a fun, painstaking process. Yeah.
But it works. I mean,
Yeah, it works.
You've been doing that the past 2 or 3 CDs?
The last 2. Did it
Last
with
2.
Buffalo Motel. That was the first time we did that whole, let's just call these pre-production sessions. Dave Roof would haul recording gear into my living room, and we would, he'd record each take, and then we'd listen through and go, ooh, that part's good. Let's dive into this.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. Yeah. And then when it came to actually recording it, we had it. We had that down. So.
And then you would rehearse it and rehearse it and rehearse it, and then record.
Or we would rehearse it and then record.
Okay. Yeah.
The budget doesn't permit for.
I know. I
You
know.
know.
It's not cheap.
It's not cheap. It's not cheap.
But it's nice to have a producer. And when I was in a band out west, we had a pre-production, kind of like you were describing, and it was pretty eye-opening, and it was very valuable as far as experience-wise, because the producer would come in and he would say, all right, play me the first note of every song, and we would work on how to start each song. And then the next time we got together, okay, play me the last note of every song. And we went through like all 14 songs. Did you know that you end all 14 songs the exact same way? Oh, we do? Yeah. All 14 endings of all 14 songs are the same. Don't you want to think about,
Just think about that.
maybe, one song could have a button ending, bum, and then another song could have a note that rings out, and then another song could end with da-dun, dun, da-dun, and then another song's going to end a cappella.
And another song will end with percussion.
And then another song will fade out, and then another song. So we had to change all the endings of all the songs because we didn't realize, hey, we're just rehashing the same thing over and over. And it took someone outside the band to kind of point that out. And so it really improved the music immediately.
Yeah. Well, that objective perspective is always very helpful.
Oh, I think so too.
Yeah.
I've had my son Ben was the producer on the last 2 CDs, and that was one, a real surprise to me that he was interested in doing it. He's in his 30s, the music, brain and all that kind of stuff, and I trust his taste a lot. But he was like, "Mom, I've heard yours. I think there's more we could do with your music." And I'm like, and I said, "You wanna like help produce? And he went, yeah. I was blown away. I go, what? Okay, cool. But it was just that. Like he went, don't everybody in your band, everybody's really super talented, right?
Yeah.
And they're used to a certain style of music.
Mm-hmm.
And when you are used to, and I was used to a certain
Mm-hmm.
style of music, coming from sort of traditional folk roots and things like that, and working with Jay. And he said, I think everybody needs to get out of their comfort zone. Like let's maybe some songs deserve a traditional kind of treatment, but let's just
Mhm.
go in there and shake it up a little bit. And I think we could
Right.
try these different things. And he would play bits of music from, I don't know, just Radiohead or whatever,
Mhm.
different kinds of, just not to emulate, but just
To be inspired.
to kind of
yeah.
stretch people and
To grow.
to grow. yeah, and that I remember one of the songs from Buffalo. No, that was. Yeah, it was from Buffalo Motel called Haggard. No. What? Yeah, I think anyway, it's a song called Haggerty. And I don't know. We were going to record it live at Dave's studio.
Mm-hmm.
And Ben said, "Why don't we do this, this, and this?" And the guys were all, "Yeah, let's do that." And I'm like, "But I have to sing." I've never sung it like that. And then we did a take where Tony Pace, who did the lead guitar on it, was just like, he just took it to like new levels.
Yeah.
Because this was, just to get to the roots of it, Haggerty Road is where my husband died.
Wow.
He had a heart attack in the car. So it's like, it was about that kind of, not literally, but just figuratively speaking. So it was like, for me, kind of it needed to have a thing. It wasn't just la la la, it wasn't a la la
Right.
song. And the band didn't know that when we were rehearsing it or working on the pre-production. They didn't know what it was about. And then in the studio, I explained what it was about. Great. But Tony took that energy and then did this break in it that we all were just like screaming afterward. And my singing was like, or whatever, but we kept it because it was really great. But yeah, that, even if it you talked about not having perfection, but right, you get to a certain age and you kind of feel like it's about the process.
Yeah.
More than anything, you just, I don't know, like that, even if it's a process, it's the memories. I don't know, songs go out there, some stick, some don't, or if you've got a bunch of dough you can throw at it, because it really it's about having dough.
Do you ever go back and listen to your old music? Or the prior records, or are you just thinking more about what's next?
I did on the way here.
Okay.
Because I thought I've been listening to this stuff for a while, and I don't on the regular.
Yeah.
Because I'm mostly, if I have time, I want to maybe write something new or whatever.
Right.
But I listen back, and it's like I'm all right with it.
Yeah, I'm the same. I don't really listen to it, but there was a couple of days, about 2 weeks ago, where I thought, I'm going to go back and listen to that stuff. And I thought, I can do better.
I have all these old cassettes. I have cassette tapes from my high school band. And like when I was in high school, we were in a really good band, remember? Scourge was the band.
Oh, you guys were in a band?
No.
Oh, okay. All right.
I was in a band.
He's
All right.
much younger than
Would have
I
been
am.
1989, right? And the band was Scourge. Or you have to say Scourge. You can't say Scourge. You have to say Scourge.
Otherwise, it doesn't work.
And just shake your fist when you do it. Right.
Okay.
But so Scourge was a band, and we were pretty good. And we went to like an entertainment law guy, and he's like, "Would you represent us?" And he sent us this letter. You need to go to a more professional studio. And we sent our tape to like radio stations and producers, and they would just mail us back. You need to go to a more professional studio. You need to get a producer. You need to do this, do that. And I listened to today I listened to the tapes. Like back then I was like, they don't know what they're talking about. We sound great. I listen to the tapes now and I'm like, oh yeah, the guitar's out of tune. there's like a zzz before the song starts, you know? Like the drummer drops a stick at one point, you hear a click. And, like in between the verses, like the singer goes into the mic. And, you know, and back then I was like, what? It sounds great. But
you were what?
if we would have only
17,
had someone
20?
to be like, you know what? We need to cut that out, Andy.
Um,
I would have been like, why? Isn't it good just like
It's
that?
cinema verite.
No, it's not good, Andy. It doesn't sound good when you clear your throat into the mic in between the verses. You know, maybe mute it.
my first recording experience was with David Roof, and he was just out of high school. And we both
my
lived in
God.
Adrian together.
Yeah.
And I answered, like I talked about in his podcast, I answered a little ad, drummer needed. And we wrote some songs together way back then. And he tells me he wants to make sure that those recordings never get out. And I'm on.
They're blackmail recordings.
And I'm honoring that because I have great respect for David, and he's a good
Oh,
friend.
but come on, wouldn't that be cool? That'd be really fun to listen to.
Talk to Dave.
Yeah. Oh, no, because, you know, everybody starts somewhere.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's,
And he was the singer of all the songs, and he sang some of the songs I wrote, which I thought were pretty good.
oh my God, I would love to hear that so much.
Um,
And the coughing.
well, see, that's kind of how it is when we're young and
Oh,
and, you
absolutely.
know,
No, you're not. You're just.
you show a progression.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that is, I feel like that's this is a strange comparison, but I think about that with therapy
Yeah.
a lot, that I think a lot of people don't want to go to therapy because
They have to
you
do
start to
work.
grow and then you have to look back at what a schmuck you were and be able to feel good about that.
You know
Like-
how your coping strategies were just not refined as well.
There we are. Oh no, to reframe, absolutely. I don't think that they were dumb, but I feel like
Yeah.
there's that like, ugh.
Yeah.
What was I doing? And I understand that's part of therapy, and you integrate it, and you don't feel the shame anymore. Blah blah blah.
And everything we do, we grow. I mean, Andy is probably a much better guitar teacher than you were 20 years ago.
You know what? I literally last week I learned things about the guitar that I didn't know. And to me, I'm like who's that guy? Pablo Casals. He said he was 93, and people asked him, "Why are you practicing every day?" He's like, "I'm finally making progress." So I'm that kind of guy. Like, even though I turned 50 a couple weeks ago, I took a class for guitar teachers in the Suzuki method, and they showed you how to play Book 5 and play all these classical pieces. And the teacher was like, "So, you know, if you move your finger like this, you can play this note and that note." And I was like, "What? Back up. What did you just say?" And he's like, "Yeah, do this." And I was like, "I've never done that before." Amazing. Wow. So, you know, even I can learn stuff about the guitar.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm all about the learning. I mean, I took it up during COVID because, you know, I had a lot of time. And I was acquainted with Andy, and I contacted him, and we did Zoom lessons for
Oh,
the
nice.
longest while.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I suggested he could rent space at my office. And so he did.
It
And,
started with 1 hour a week,
Oh.
yeah.
and it grew from there.
Yeah. But, you know, we do get better over time. And that's...
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and our songs become more intricate and mature. Like I wrote this great song, I Was a Teenage Remote Control. You remember that when we
Yeah,
were kids?
yeah.
Yeah, get up and change a channel.
Yeah.
You know, and
yeah.
all that. You write, you think back, but I played that in a way I'd never played anything before. You know, I just did it kind of like a punk take on a song. 3 chords. Just...
Oh, okay.
Just something so simple, and I was trying to just play all this crazy, intricate stuff like D sus 9 and
E major 7.
E major 7, which is a cool chord.
Yeah.
You know, but sometimes just the basics are good too.
yeah.
So speaking of guitars, you have kind of what looks like a classic beauty here. That's a Martin. So why don't you show us what
Yes.
this instrument is?
So I always forget what the number is or whatever it is, but I know that it is. I bought it at Elderly, and it's a reproduction. There was a custom run. Why am I blanking on the person? Stan Werbin, who runs Elderly or ran Elderly, had it was like a 1925 or 35. The original of this guitar, and then he had a custom run made, and I bought this one, which I love.
How long have you had it?
I don't know, 15, 18 years, something
Okay.
like that. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
It's well seasoned.
Yeah, it's getting there. Yeah,
And it's still shiny.
it's it's really dirty. But
Mine has sweat stained in. I can't wash it off. It's got some chips on the back.
yeah, it's got all that stuff. But
The
it's
bridge is just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit coming up right there.
all right. Oh no, this one too. Yeah, I'm not good at taking care of my stuff, but I do. Yeah, no, my band members are always like, you need to get that.
Hey, if it sounds great, don't touch it. Don't take
As
it
it
apart.
starts to rip off.
Hey, if it sounds amazing, just leave it.
Can you imagine that during a show, though? How spectacular that would be?
Yuck. Yeah.
So what are you working on right now? Do you want to? Do you feel comfortable playing a little bit of the new stuff, or you want to play an older song?
Sure, I can play a new. I can play a new one. If I can, yeah. The new stuff feels. Anyway, it feels a little different to me. But anyway, this one's called "As the Crows Fly."
Coming to Spotify and such near you any day in the next
At
3
any
years.
minute in the next 5 years. That mate. Go on home, find your way. On your own, I'm gonna stay here for a while, not too close. Beyond the rise, over there as the crow flies. It's time for you to go. I can see time to say goodbye. You and me, and heaven only knows, and won't tell us all how far it is as the crow flies. Rivers overflow, mountains divide, washing out the road. Washing out the road as the mud slides, pouring down in front of your eyes, pushing you around. No matter how you fight, till it lets go. It takes luck to survive. Tumbling along as the crow flies. It's time for you to go. I can see time to go. It has to be, and heaven only knows, and won't tell us all how far it is as the crow flies. Oh, heaven only knows, and won't tell us all how far it is as the crow flies, as the crow flies, as the crow flies. go on home, find your way. On your own, I'm gonna stay here for a while, dream again. Tame my mind, sing with the wind as it blows by. It's time for you to go. I can see you have to go. It has to be, and heaven only knows, and won't tell us all how far it is as the crow flies. Oh, heaven only knows, and won't tell us all how far it is as the crow flies. How far it is as the crow flies. I'll see you there as the crow flies. I'll meet you there as the crow flies. I'll meet you there as the crow flies. As the crow flies. As the crow
Wow, that was great.
Oh, thanks.
I'm amazed that you remember all the words.
Well, I didn't quite, but
I can't remember any of my words.
Yeah?
Hardly at all.
ah,
Yeah, and so I use a tablet.
oh, yeah. Well, I have to wear glasses all the time, so
Oh.
vanity makes me remember the words.
Just wait till you're old enough to have cataract surgery. I've had that.
Yeah, did you?
Yeah, I couldn't see this far in front of my face.
And you had the cataract surgery.
Yeah.
Well, let's have old folk talk. Yeah, I am old enough to have it past that point, but yeah, it scares the shit out of me. Yeah.
It wasn't that bad. Yeah, I had one of the nurses hold my hand, and because I was gripping so tight because you're awake, but it's fairly quick.
All right, something to think about.
It's very uncomfortable. But I'm an old guy too. I hearing aids.
You got all the AIDS.
I do.
Did you? Have
Yeah.
you had hip and knee surgery yet?
I have not.
Okay, good for you.
I hope not.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I know.
So we'll avoid those things. But tell us about that song, As the Crow Flies. It was so beautiful.
Mhm.
Yeah, your finger picking just sounds great, and I might have said this too when Candy Frederick was on the podcast. But my thoughts are, like, you're not trying to copy someone else. You have your own style. You play the guitar like the way you play the guitar. You sing like you sing, and you're not trying to sound like someone else. And that's just really refreshing. You're just
Yeah.
like, here's what I got, and it's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah,
I like it.
I can't. I even in life, I can't copy somebody.
No.
I'm just sort
If
of-
you were trying to be like, okay, I'm going to sing this just like Bob Dylan, or I'm going to sing this like Joni Mitchell, or I'm going to try to sound just like Dave Matthews, that would be bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to do it just the way that you do it, and then that way it's very unique.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't. This song, I can't remember what's been happening, especially lately, just with a little batch that I've been writing of songs, is that I sit down and I have an idea,
Yeah.
and I'm going to do this, and then it just goes sideways, and I have no idea why. I mean, it's not like spooky or anything like that. It's just sort of, it didn't come out at all the way I wanted or what I intended. But this one, yeah, I don't.
It just came out as it did.
Yeah, it did, and yeah.
Sometimes songs write themselves.
It seems like that you can kind of, if you, because we know there's more of an intuitive process that you can trust, and it's not like it is woo-woo really, but it's more if you, because I sometimes, what I'll do, I was just talking to a friend about this who was talking about having writing block with writing songs, and I was, one of the things I'll do is if I kind of can't, because we work, we do our things, and it's sort of like, okay, I've got an hour to write. I can't get to my brain to be creative. I'll put on some music of somebody that I really like a lot. The National, for whatever reason,
Mm-hmm.
even though my stuff doesn't sound like the National, but the what they do kind of
There's
works
something
with,
about them.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I'll listen, or I'll read some of the lyrics that Matt has written, and then it kind of a phrase here or there will start to appeal, and I'll steal it, and
Yeah.
or I'll steal the chord progression. But then by the time the song is done, it doesn't. It's a
not
different
recognizable.
progression. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but it's about it. There is something about getting to a different part of the head,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and maybe people have ways of doing that. But
Nike, the shoe company, has this great saying. It's called "Just do it," but they skipped a step. That's step 2. Step 1 is you have to feel like just doing it.
Mm-hmm.
you have to feel like
Yeah.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
The mood has to be
Don't-
right for a specific song, for something to come out.
yeah, yeah.
Before I was administration, I used to write songs during missed sessions, at work.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Wow.
I don't have
No, you can't do that now.
no, I don't have that kind of free time anymore. And I used to call on gigs during those times too, and so I'm not really playing as much, which is okay.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
okay. Andy and I have some.
Mhm.
We had a gig at El Limon's
Mhm.
together.
Oh, nice. Oh, I haven't been there.
Yeah, it's a
Oh,
nice restaurant,
okay.
and we're playing at the Lenawee County Fair in July.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah, as a band.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, so we've got a nice bass player and a drummer who I hardly know. But that's the fun of it. You
Yeah.
put together you do duos and trios and
Yeah.
quartets
yeah.
and five-tets.
And kind of whatever, it's like whoever's available.
Yeah.
And then depending on the size, we played at Moonwing, so we've played at
Mhm.
North Star, and I know people take full. I don't know, but it's just experimenting with what seems to fit the
Well,
space,
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
thing. Yeah, we've got one. We're playing a couple of festivals this summer. We're going to be in at Nor'easter, returning there, which is a really nice. It's a great way to start the summer. It's a real very Michigan-based music festival. I feel like it's going to like music's, and I mean this in all the best possible ways. It's like summer camp,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
you're like it feels it's so comfortable, and the setting is so great, and the music is good. It's great, and then we're going to be playing Bliss Fest, which is going to be cool. That'll be a first time, but then just a few, I don't know, it was maybe longer than a few weeks ago, but we're. I get to open for Laith Al-Sadi at
Oh.
Sonic Lunch.
Oh, very
Hey,
nice.
Sonic Lunch. There you go.
Very cool.
I know, that's going to be cool.
I've not been down there yet.
Yeah.
When are you gonna play?
July 3rd, 11:30,
Okay.
corner of Liberty and Division, downtown Ann Arbor.
Be there, be
yeah,
square.
Yeah, and I was able to, again, I'm a weasel. I got a few of the guys to be able to play with me. They do normally maybe don't like bands so much, but yeah. But so I'm really excited about that.
Yeah,
That'll be
no.
so much fun.
You've had a lot of firsts.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
yeah.
that's another level. And you've also played as your band at the Ark,
Oh yeah.
which
yeah.
to me is several levels above where I'm at.
Yeah,
It just is.
Yeah,
It just
or
is.
if it isn't, it's more. I played with Jay,
Yeah.
so there's like that footprint kind of
Yeah.
where he
Well, and
played the Ark.
All the people you play with too, though, are just, they're professionals.
They are professionals.
Yeah.
They're really, I think how, and they're really nice people,
Incredibly
which
nice.
is like
That counts.
Yeah, it counts a lot. Yeah, they're just really
I-
good people.
I don't ever want to be in a band again where ego's an issue.
No,
Yeah.
no,
No.
no thanks. No, because if
Been
you
there,
go,
done that.
yeah, huh?
Been there, done that, burned the t-shirt.
Saged. Put away.
Can't wait for the second Spinal Tap movie. Speaking of bands and
it's
huge
coming
egos.
out. That's right. Forgot that's coming out.
Yeah, I don't know when it's coming out, but they also made another movie called The Mighty Wind, which was kind of about a folk.
That
I
was
didn't see
hilarious.
that.
It was.
It is a must.
Okay.
You'll just die.
Yeah, but everything
They're
Carl
so
Reiner
good.
touches.
So just like walks that line. I don't know how you just walk the line where you think, is this serious?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I love the dry humor.
yeah. No, it's so freaking funny.
Yeah, but so what are the names of all 4 of your recordings, and where can we find them?
Okay. The first one is Without You. All of them they're on all the streaming platforms, so you can, that's always a thing. Or you can go to my website, judybanker.com, and there you can get our Bandcamp. Without You, that came out in 2014, and then there was Devils Never Cry, 2016, and then Buffalo Motel in 2020, and then in 2023, was Bonafide.
Yeah. Now, there are stories behind each record. You mentioned the story behind Without You.
Yeah. Yeah.
What were the other stories?
So then, The Devils Never Cry was, it was me kind of realizing, I guess I don't want to not do this music thing. I hadn't thought about it. It wasn't anything like I was like, well, I want to be, I just knew Without You was was a task, not a task, but a very targeted project.
Yep.
And then because it seemed like, we could play out, and it was fun. And I liked it, and it was something to think about besides crying all the time. And so I thought, well, recording was really great, and maybe I wrote some more songs. And so Devils Never Cry, the name of it was based on something my son said when he was 4. He liked to draw. He drew constantly. He would draw dragons and devils, they're like a theme. But devils a lot, and I have drawings and drawings and drawings. And he said one day he was sitting at the kitchen counter just drawing, and he went, "Mama, devils never ever cry, even when you sing happy songs." Because something would make like a happy song would surely make a devil cry, but that won't even make him cry. And I sort of, in the back of my mind, I just, kids say cry.
Right.
But I went, someday, I don't know what. That was just, I just always remembered that.
Yeah, it
stayed in my brain, and I went, I have to write a song, Devils Never Cry, and then I have to. So I organized the album around that, because the first one was about, whatever, but loss and all that kind of thing. And I with a family member, I went, well, this was that saying, and let me organize around that. And so that was more, I would say, it had more of a folk rock, bluegrass kind of tinge to it. And then...
Yeah, there's a lot of banjo on that one, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was banjo on that.
Slide guitar? Or steel guitar?
Steel guitar, a lot of... Dobro. Yeah, dobro for sure. Which I love. I miss that. Tony plays electric now. And I'm just like, I don't know. It doesn't, I don't have to decide one way or the other, but it's like, I just love that sound so much. And pedal steel, love that. Then Buffalo Motel, that's when Ben became a producer, and that just took a turn to more layered, more electric, more kind of alt, something, indie. Alt folk. Country.
Americana.
The Americana catch-all.
Indie.
Yeah, kind of indie, folk, rock, whatever.
Now I'm trying to fit into...
music.
I hate that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I hate that. Some stuff, it's bluegrass. That's what it is.
Yeah.
But it's sort of, if you have a blues song in your mix, or you've got a ballad or something that's not. But
it's your music.
That's
how I look at it.
But that's sort of, so then Buffalo Motel came out, and that was based. I loved how that came together. I knew I wanted to call it Buffalo Motel because there's that image, but the Buffalo Motel was a place, and we had, as a family, Ben, John, and I, when Ben was little, we took a trip we drove cross country to Montana. John's family had a cabin there, and it was like we were just idiots. Like John's like a brilliant computer scientist, just person in general, like one of these but you know, he'd been there before, so he remembered how to drive to Montana. No, he didn't. We didn't have a map. We were just going to hit the road and head to Montana. I'm like, okay, I trust you. You're a good driver.
Drive into the sunset.
Yeah, exactly. We ended up somewhere in Duluth. I don't know where we ended up. And wait, where were we? Oh, I wish I could remember the town. Somewhere in Nebraska. I don't know. Someplace. Some city. We were at a diner eating. And
you were in Nebraska. You didn't go the right way.
Yeah, we didn't. Right. It was like we were. Oh darn it! I'll think of what it was because I'm not a good storyteller because I don't remember those details. But anyway, we were eating lunch, and John, we were at the table going, okay, so now where will we go from here? And a couple next to us went, "You're in the wrong."
You're in the wrong state.
So we got a map, and then we headed on the right track. That was just a tiny little detour, but that was the whole trip. Like, oh, our muffler fell off, the air conditioning broke on the Subaru, but it didn't matter. You know, it's like one of those trips where it just didn't matter. We put a fan on the dashboard, we plowed through, we got to Montana. But on the way, we also stopped in South Dakota for the night. We didn't have any reservations anywhere, but it was like, South Dakota, let's pull over here. You know, we wanted to go see the Corn Motel in South Dakota, but, you know, it was closed. So we pulled off into this, it was
Did you go to the Spam Museum?
No, we were behind schedule now.
Right next to it.
Had to forego, but we would have. Honest to God, we stopped every freaking thing. But we had to get there because family was meeting us. So we stopped at giant fiberglass buffalo outside of this little motel with like plastic chairs all outside. And there was a storm brewing. It was heaven. I don't know how old Ben was. Maybe he was 8 or something like that. But it was just like this buffalo was just everything. And then when we sat outside there in the chairs and watched the heat lightning over the mountains, and I just thought,
wow,
this is heaven.
Yeah.
This is heaven. It was just so awesome. So I just remembered that trip as being kind of, for me, as like one of those, just iconic for me. I just thought it was the best thing ever. So then I wrote a song called Buffalo Motel, and it's like about,
about the trip, but really it was about cheating. But I used the imagery from the trip for it, and then I wondered, like, does the Buffalo Motel have a sign or something? So I Googled neon Buffalo Motel sign, and up pops this image. I could show you my phone. Oh my God, I could have died. Stand right here.
Oh, that's right. But why not do this?
Is that your cat?
Yeah, that's my cat. That's Zooey.
It's the cover of
and
your
there's
CD,
Dave Roof. Oh, and there's Dave Roof's studio. Okay, wait.
I have an orange cat too, like that. His name's Artemis.
Artemis. That's a good name. Where am I? Oh, I know. I could just look up no, wait. How do I do this?
Cat people unite.
Oh, I know what I'll do. I'm slow.
And so right now we're talking about Judy's CD, Buffalo Motel, and we're exploring the picture that she has of this wonderful experience.
That was the picture
the
of
Buffalo Motel, there it is, as a giant buffalo that's all neon and glowing.
Yeah. So I found, I doctored that. That's the cover of the album, but so I made it a little, it's like spookier or whatever.
It's
just
always
a little
hard
more.
to think of a good album cover, but that's a good
isn't
one.
that just, I couldn't. But I found that sign, and then I thought I have to find the photographer who did that, who wrote, and then now I'm not going to remember his name, but that's okay. So I found him, and he was on Instagram, and he takes pictures of funky, vintagey kinds of things, and he was so nice, and he was like, "Of course you can use it. I don't care," and. Then so we struck up a online kind of thing, and I still hear from him occasionally, and I'm blanking out right now, but so I love that kind of stuff, the synchrony kind of that has the meaning and everything. So So that was how the theme of it.
I think that's just an amazing story, and you are a good storyteller.
Without the details.
Well, I mean, just the feelings, though. I mean, you
Yeah,
could really
yeah.
feel what your experience was, your family experience, and what it meant to you.
Yeah. That was there's so many memories from that. That was great. But yeah, driving out west is a fantasy I have all the time. You know, when things get
Yeah.
stressful, I like a road trip.
Mhm.
I just
Right.
want to get in the car and drive out where there's
Right.
mountains and
Yeah,
You know?
My wife and I, when we were first married, or it was actually right before our wedding, we made a road trip to Colorado. Okay, first time driving out there,
Oh.
and there's a lot of good stories there. But I'll make this one short. Okay, so we went down the southern route, we went down south, and we got all the way to Kansas, and we entered Kansas, and of course in front of us there was nothing but cornfields, and I'm flipping through the radio stations. Okay, it's a country. Okay, it's a talk. Okay, it's a hey, here's like a modern rock station. Okay, we listened to a couple songs. We started to drive through Kansas. Okay, and it got real fuzzy, like we drove out of the range of that radio station, right? Because it must have been, I don't know, Iowa or Arkansas or whatever. Okay, well, let's flip. Hit the seek button. Seek. Hey, it's not. Went all the way around. It's not finding any radio stations.
Uh-oh.
I hit the seek button. I'm like, well, maybe it'll find a radio station. I don't know. We'll see. So then we just started talking, and then we had some snacks, and then we told some jokes, and then we, just drove, and we got bored. We thought of some games, like the license plate game or the billboard game or whatever to pass the time. In case you haven't driven through Kansas, it's like driving across the moon. It's like featureless on the highway. It's like just cornfields as far as you can see. So then 9 hours later, we're just driving, we're talking, hey, do you want to stop for gas soon, get another snack? Sure, okay. And then all of a sudden, like the radio blasts at full volume because it had found a station, and it was AC/DC Back in Black and started to play. So for 9 hours, the radio was going around and around and around and hoping to find a station. And 9 hours later,
You're
it
probably
found
just
one.
in that one latitude where there's just nothing.
Yeah, so couldn't even listen to the radio the whole time. Like nothing would come in.
Yeah. That'd be painful.
No audio book. Oh, you probably could do that. No, you couldn't.
I think we had a
Yeah.
CD player, and the next time we went the Nebraska way, so we didn't have to go through Kansas, and we had one CD, and so we just had to listen to that CD on repeat for the whole 24 hours of driving.
Do you ever listen to that CD again?
No.
Yeah.
But it wasn't that bad, actually. It was one of the better ones. It was actually One Hot Minute by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And a lot of Red Hot Chili Peppers fans will say, oh, that one goes at the bottom of the list. I don't know. I thought Dave Navarro did pretty good on that one, sitting in for guitar. And I thought that was one of the better Red Hot Chili Peppers albums. But maybe it's just me. And maybe I listen to it too much.
Or it's like when you have like a really bad sandwich, but you're starving.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe it was
Tastes
that.
really, really good.
Yeah, best sandwich ever.
Right.
Hey, do you have a song that we could play with you?
Yes.
What are the...
This is from actually my first album. And this was called This Old House.
I remember it.
Yeah, it's an A.
An A?
Yeah, okay. I'm just gonna do that. Yeah, it's just like it's very, very simple chords. And it's the last song on the album, and it was a song I had. That was my Wailing Wall album, and I had written this song, and it was written really fast, which I'm more laborious about songs, and it's a simple song, so. I was like, do we put this on the album? Do we not? Is it dumb? That's always is this a song? Is this stupid?
I never let dumb bother me with the song.
So we had been recording, and It was just Dave and I in the studio, and this was the last song of the day. And I had my I would say my stamina had flagged, and he had one mic in the middle of the room when we were going to play this song, and we didn't know what to do with it. So it's just Dave and I. So he pulls out a guitar and he's playing it along, and I'm like, oh, because I very much use like my barometer. My barometer at that time was if it made me feel like crying, and in the sense of feeling like I don't like this, like it was very not a grief barometer, but more, oh no, it's not going to sound the way I want. Like a feeling of what I'm talking way too much. Anyway, so he was playing the guitar. He was doing a beautiful job, but it wasn't the vibe I wanted at all. And I went, no, not really. And then he tried something else, and I was like, I don't think so. This song is sort of dumb anyway. Like, let's just go home. I'll just go home because I was tired. And Dave went, no, and he pulled a banjo off the wall, and we played a version, and it was perfect. It's like you're in the Appalachian Mountains, and you're on the front porch, and then you're plucking this song. So.
This old house is way too small. This old house is way too small. This old house is way too small for me. Hear your footsteps on the stair. When I look, no one's there. This old house is way too small for me. This old town's way too small. This old town's way too small. This old town's way too small for me. Walking down the streets I see sorry eyes looking back at me. This old town's way too small for me. This old world's way too small. This old world's way too small. This old world's too small for me. Hear your wind keeps whistling out your name. Tears come falling with the rain. This old world's way too small for me. Gotta find some place to go where the rain don't fall and the wind don't blow, where no one knows about you and me.
everybody.
Yes.
Wow, beautiful.
That was nice.
Nice playing, you guys.
I eventually was able to follow.
No, you did great. That's cool.
After the first 10 seconds, I realized my guitar's tuned down a half step, but you know, that's okay. But speaking of my guitar, so I guess I didn't show off this one yet. This is my show and tell piece of the day, everybody. This is a Godin solid body nylon string guitar. And it has the, it doesn't have knobs on it. Instead, it has sliders. You got your volume, low, mids, high, and brilliance. And then it also has a MIDI pickup that you can plug in case you like to do MIDI triggering and have a tone module and stuff. And so you can actually control the tone module and go through your different sounds by using these buttons.
Wow.
And so it's pretty good for finger picking if you like that kind of thing.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
So the strings are further apart than on your guitar. It has a classical guitar spacing, so the space is wider, right? A lot of people play these with a pick. The guy from Polyphia, Tim Henson, he kind of made these guitars popular again because he has a couple hit songs that where he plays, solid body nylon string. There are Ibanez. He has his own signature series model or whatever. But this one's from way back in the day. I think it's from 89 or 91 or something like that. So it's made in Canada. And it does have a 9-volt battery. Hey, yeah, before tariffs, yeah. Pre-tariff.
Back when we were Canada's friends.
Yeah. Who could make an enemy of Canada?
Only one man.
Yeah, right.
Only one man.
Found a way. That is a
But anyway,
gorgeous
do you want to
guitar.
try it for a second? Just to
Yeah, sure.
hold it and check it out and plunk away a little bit. So I didn't tune it, I guess, before the show started,
But you will after.
I
So,
love this.
you know, the neat thing about the MIDI pickup is every string has its own pickup.
Oh.
And so when you go through the output, you can have 6 outputs, one for each string. That's kind of different, huh?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing what you can do with it.
Wow.
Our friend Jesse Sanchez plays a MIDI pickup guitar like this. So he knows more about it than I do. But anyway, got it at Music Go Round in Ann Arbor, so shout out to them. And doesn't have a scratch on it, so there it is.
You know, I'm not a good storyteller. I'm really not. I'm
we're
good
gonna
at,
have a throwdown, huh? About bad storytellers. Okay.
well, I'm good at one-liners.
Oh, okay.
You know, and just kind of interjecting thoughts. But I've shown this guitar off before, just last week. It's my Martin. It's my favorite guitar, acoustic guitar. I called it Zen because, that's how I feel when I play it. And it's a Mexican model 000X1AE, whatever that means. And, you all have heard it. I think you were playing this chord, which I think is a very cool chord. I'm not going to play any more of that because it's from a popular song. But, it's got a really pretty
That's beautiful.
sound. And I'm guessing it's just exactly like your guitar as far as feel.
Mm-hmm.
But you'd have to tell me.
Oh.
This is our show and tell portion.
Oh, it feels good.
Probably feels almost the same.
It's the exact same size.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful. It's really full and well balanced.
Well, of course, David helped me find it on the internet, and he picked it out and said, "This is a guitar you should buy." And he was right.
He's not wrong.
Rarely.
Love this, and it's really easy to play too.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
But it feels really similar. If not a little bit easier than mine, yeah.
You say it's not, or
It is easy to play. I mean,
Oh.
it's a little easier than mine, I feel like.
probably the thing that's coming up. The bridge is what did you call
Yeah,
that?
the bridge, yeah.
Yeah. Just my chords have to handle.
And I have to change my strings. This is
Ah.
nice.
These
Really
are
nice.
these are relatively newer strings too. So thank you.
Yeah.
Well, that's our show and tell portion. We like to do that every week. You know, I bought a new toy, a banjitar, but I don't have much time on it, so I don't feel comfortable showing and telling just yet. But I don't know how to do all the finger picking stuff. I'm not
The flailing or whatever.
I'm not learned in those, because really I just want to be a rhythm guitar player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I just want to write words, you know. So this has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I really
Yeah.
appreciate you coming in.
Thanks for having me out. I mean, good to meet you, Andy, and to Gab, and this
Yeah,
is a wonderful thing that you guys are doing.
This is the most we've ever talked. The longest.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, what time is
We've
it?
just chatted in passing for the most
Oh,
part.
yeah, right. You and I, absolutely, yeah.
I mean, Andy, I talk like this. every day.
I was thinking, what?
No, I'm talking to you. But it is really nice to get to know you in a different way than just at a gig or a festival.
Setting up
or
sound and
setting
then
up
having-
sound. Yeah, and in passing.
Yeah, likewise.
And that's one of the things I really like about doing this, is because we get to know people a little differently.
Yeah, and we're basically going through introducing the audience to every active musician in Michigan, one person at a time. And so we're just making our way through each person. And wow, we're already up to 18 different interviews, and it's going to continue. But
And we're booked through early or mid-June.
we have, a
Oh,
lot of people on
okay.
the books too. So
Yeah.
we're going to have a lot of good guests coming up.
Yeah, Judy, in case you didn't know, we've had Scott Fishkind, we've had Mike Gentry, we've had, who else is out? Millen, Seth.
Ted, I saw Ted.
Ted Monte,
and
yeah.
Candy. and
Yep. Yeah, a lot of people.
Chris McGorry.
Yep, we just
Yep.
had him a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I remember the days back in high school. You'd go to battle the bands, and when the other band was on the stage, you'd stand in the back of the room and you'd cross your arms and you would scowl and you'd go, "You guys suck." And that was the thing to do because that made you cooler. But now here we are as adults, and it's like, you know what? We all play together. We
Yeah.
all play here. Everybody comes to see everyone else play.
Yeah.
We support each other.
Yeah,
We've got a nice community in the Ann Arbor,
I think so too.
general area.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have anything to compare to. I don't know what it's
Well,
like
same.
in other places,
Yeah.
but people seem to. I mean, I hear from other people from coming from out of town that
Yeah.
this is quite something.
Yeah. You've played elsewhere.
Yeah, and unfortunately, there's competitiveness and rivalries, and out west in Denver and Boulder, there are a lot of great places to play, but there's 10 times as many bands that want to play there.
Yeah.
And but anyways, here it just seems like when you go to a weekend to go see a band and someone's up there, you can appreciate their music, you can have fun, you can listen to them, and even if you're in another band that wants to get that gig, hey, make connections, do some networking, make some
Yeah.
friends, get to know people.
Yeah.
That's really how you get somewhere, because the more you close yourself off and go, that person, I have resentment because they're playing and I'm not. Okay, well, that doesn't get you there. That
But
doesn't.
then you grow up.
Yeah, you have to get a little bit more mature and go, okay, well, that person's playing. I'm going to go meet that person. I'm going to go talk to them. Where did they record? How did they achieve their success? Oh, maybe
How
I
are
could
they-
do that.
How are they connected to David Roof?
Right.
This degrees of separation
That's
from Dave
right.
Roof.
Hey, do you know a great drummer? Hey, do you know someone that plays the dobro halfway decent? Hey, do you know a banjo player? You know, you might not know those people, but you can get introduced by a friend of a friend. And so the more people you know and the more positive relationships you have, the better.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Judy.
that's an important thing.
What would you like to play us out on? Or what?
Oh.
What song?
Okay, let me think. Oh, how about, this is one. The lyrics are by Pete Seeger and Jim Musselman. And it's a song, I'll be playing it at the Pete Seeger benefit. But at one of the benefits, it's a poem that was on Pete's records, and Studs Terkel recorded it, and as a prose, recitation. And I for one of the benefits, I thought, I'll just set that to music. Maybe I could do that. It's sort of, and I did, and we performed it, and it was great. And somebody came up to me after the performance and said, I'm a friend of the Seeger family.
Oh.
You ought to record this and then make it available for free to get it out there. And I'm like, I'll introduce you. I'm like, okay. And then I find myself on the phone with Tinya Seeger, Pete's daughter, and I had sent her a rough of it that I had done, and she, long story short, we had to make some tweaks to it. She wanted to make sure that she's so protective of her father's legacy,
Of
which
course.
she should be. I'm just thinking, why am I even talking to Tinya Seeger? Who am I, right? How did this even happen? But then they gave permission. It was exclusive permission from the family to be able to set it to music. And it fits. It will fit forever, I think. Our times. You guys can sing. Oh, 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 oh. Cursed be the nation of any size or shape, whose citizens behave like naked apes and drop their litter where they please, just like we did when we swung from trees. Blessed be the nation and blessed be the prize, where citizens of any shape or size can speak their mind for any reason without being jailed or accused of treason. Oh, oh, oh. That's the sing-along part. Pete always likes sing-alongs. The rest of the words are heard. Cursed be the nation without equal education, where good schools are something that we ration, where the wealthiest get the best that is able, and the poor are left with crumbs from the table. Blessed be the nation that keeps its waters clean, where an end to pollution is not just a dream, where factories don't blow poisonous smoke, and we can breathe the air without having to choke. Oh, oh, Cursed be the nation where all play
and too much is made of the color of the skin, where we do not see each other as sister and brother, but as being threats to each other. And blessed be the nation with health care for all, where there's a helping hand for those who fall, where compassion is in fashion every year, and people, not profits, is what we hold dear. People, not profits. People, not profits. People, not profits, is what we hold dear. Oh, 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 oh.
Man, that is a powerful song.
Way ahead of its time.
Yeah.
See, he wrote that in the 60s.
Yeah, yeah, and it's more real today than
Isn't it?
it's been for a while. Yeah.
And he went through the, what you call it, the McCarthy
Yeah,
years, and
McCarthy,
he
yeah.
was sentenced. I mean, he was blacklisted.
Yeah,
so
as
he
a
knows what
communist.
This, yeah, yeah,
Just because he spoke his mind and said everybody should be equal,
right,
everybody should be treated well,
yeah.
everybody should be healthy. That's terrible.
That's terrible.
How dare him?
Right. Now people
Okay.
get disappeared.
Yeah.
You know, right. So, with that cheery note, thank you guys for
Thanks
having
for
me.
tuning in, everybody.
Yeah, we've been in Studio C, the listening room, with Michael Snyder Barker,
And I'm Andy Schiller.
with our really good guest, our great guest, probably the best guest we've had today, Judy Banker.
See you next time.